It's time for United to be scary again. Because last season it was a disaster, a 15th place finish, no Europe.
I watched Forest the other night. I was kicking my cups of tea over. I was watching it, all I hear was they're neat and tidy, but they were never going to score. Never going to score. No goals again today. Part of playing for Man, you're going to go back to responsibility for when you're playing for a big club and you're getting all this, the big contracts and all the...
And a team that felt lost on the pitch and hopeless off it.
In 10 games in Premier League we won 2. I know that. Imagine what is this for a fan of Manchester United. Imagine what is this for me. So we are getting a new coach that is losing more than the last coach. I have full knowledge of that. Like I said, I'm not going to change, no matter what. And I know we can succeed, but we need to survive this moment because I'm not naive. And I know that we need to survive now. So we are being the worst team, maybe.
This isn't what Manchester United should be.
Nani.
This is a club built to dominate. And now, finally, a real plan is taking shape.
Keep an eye on the future of Benjamin Sesko because there is a battle ongoing between Newcastle United and Manchester United. It's true, as reported today by The Athletic, that Manchester United made an inquiry for Ollie Watkins. Man United made a call in the last 2-3 days to understand the situation of Ollie.
A duo that could shut down the Premier League, Ollie Watkins and Benjamin Sesko.
Still Ollie Watkins goes!
For Leipzig, Sesko!
One is a proven killer in England, 17 goals and 14 assists last season with Aston Villa. The other, a generational wonder who just bagged 21 goals and 6 assists in Germany. And he's only 22.
Slip from Erving, shoot, he says! Oh!
Together, they're not just signings, they're the answer to years of pain, of watching Haaland, Bellingham, and Hazard
Away from Alderweireld, Diego Costa,
wear someone else's shirt. Sesko is that kind of player.
The first time I saw Sesko was playing for Salzburg, and the comparison that struck me straight away with his power in his left.
He's the one you regret not signing for a decade. And Watkins, he's consistency, strength, pace, and goals. 75 goals in 184 Premier League games. That's not hype, that's fact.
back in field, sends it crossing towards the far side, looking for
Add them to a team with Bruno, Mbeumo, Cunha, and a manager who won't settle for scraps. And suddenly, Old Trafford starts to look like a fortress again. This might be the last time United can fix things before the gap gets permanent. They can't afford to miss this chance again. Ollie Watkins or Benjamin Sesko?
So, Man United have 2 different options: an experienced Premier League proven player or a big talent, a gem like Benjamin Sesko. For Sesko, they made contact with the player camp, they spoke about the project, they spoke about the vision. Now it's on Manchester United to decide whether they want to go big, if they can do it financially, or if they will turn their attention on a different striker like Ollie Watkins, who remains again on the list, despite Aston Villa insisting on player not for sale for this summer transfer window. So
that's the million-dollar question for Manchester United right now. Let's be honest, United desperately needs a striker who can truly deliver. A killer in the box, someone who shows up when it matters most. After years of inconsistency up front, this isn't just another transfer window, it's a turning point. They've already made moves. Matheus Cunha
got a foot in. Cunha to strike it! Oh,
and Brian Mbeumo. They have come in to reshape the attack. But it's not enough. United knows that if they want to compete with the best again, they need one more piece at the top. And that piece has to be world class. Right now the club is locked in talks with both Watkins and Sesko, weighing the pros and cons, scouting the price tags. Aston Villa and RB Leipzig won't let them go for cheap. This is going to take strategy, patience, and maybe even a few player sales to make it happen. Internally, there's a calm urgency. They know this process could stretch out, but they also know how important it is to get it right. Players like Antony, Garnacho, and even Jadon Sancho are potentially on the way out, part of a financial chess game to fund this next big strike move. And here's the twist. After dropping 120 million euros on Rasmus Højlund and Joshua Zirkzee, why even think about another forward? Well, basically because they are Let's be real. Manchester United isn't just any club. This is a giant, a historic powerhouse. But somewhere along the way, they lost their edge. Now they're trying to get it back. And to do that, they need more than just talent. They need a vision. They need a project strong enough to win the Premier League again, to matter again in Europe, to be feared like they were in the golden age under Sir Alex Ferguson. And if you look back, there's a clear pattern. United always had world-class, ruthless strikers leading the charge. Dennis Law, Eric Cantona, Van Nistelrooy, Dwight York, Andy Cole, Berbatov, Wayne Rooney, even Chicharito and Van Persie. These guys weren't just finishers, they were game changers. Big moments, big goals, big impact. That's the kind of forward Manchester United used to rely on. And since Van Persie's iconic 2012 to 2013 title-winning season, they haven't had anyone like that.
Percy sets off, and Rooney finds him. Oh, brilliant! That is sensational! And it sums up what Robin Van Persie and Manchester United have...
Sure, names have come and gone. Anthony Martial, Romelu Lukaku, and others who showed flashes but never found real consistency. Then came the veterans, Cavani, Zlatan, even Cristiano Ronaldo returning to Old Trafford. Legends, yes, but none of them were in their prime anymore. They were stopgaps, not foundations. And here's the issue. Højlund and Xerxes aren't there yet. They've got talent, no doubt, but can they be decisive when it matters most? Can they carry the team when the lights are the brightest? Okay, let's not sugarcoat it. Højlund and Xerxes haven't delivered. We're talking about strikers who were supposed to lead Manchester United's attack, but instead they've looked lost. Højlund, just 4 goals and 1 assist in 32 Premier League games this past season. Xerxes, 3 goals in 32 games. Both of them play as centre forwards. Those numbers? Downright painful. But maybe the problem isn't the players. Maybe, just maybe, it's the club. Because lately it's like stepping into Old Trafford turns you into the worst version of yourself. Look at Anthony. The guy couldn't dribble past a cone in Manchester, then gets loaned to Real Betis in January. He's a star.
Es el momento, Anthony. Es el momento, Anthony.
Helped them lock down a European spot. Like what?
Into the 6-yard box. Comes back out for the follow.
Or take Scott McTominay, a backup in United, shipped off to Napoli, and suddenly he's out there winning Serie A MVP.
Delivers McTominay.
How does that even make sense? Now it's Marcus Rashford's turn. He's off to Barcelona, and don't be shocked if we see him explode again in Spain. The truth is, Manchester United has felt cursed ever since the Glazers took over. Bad signings, broken promises, managers chewing through press conferences instead of trophies. The vibes off, but things might be shifting. With Ruben Amorim now at the helm, you can feel something different, something hopeful. Last season, United made it to the Europa League final, and while they didn't lift the trophy, it showed there's still a heartbeat. Still fight, still ambition. No, they're not title favourites this year, but they're back in the conversation, back on the radar. And to stay there, they need a striker who delivers, who doesn't disappear, who can hit 15 plus goals a season like clockwork.
The first time I saw Sesko was playing for Salzburg, and the comparison that struck me straight away with his power on his left foot with Robin Van Persie. He just had that about him, and that is obviously a high bar to meet. But you know, at 2021, what was Van Persie? He's definitely got that ability in him to progress to be a top striker. But I do think that he's young. He needs to develop. His centre forwards, apart from Erling Haaland, don't tend to mature till the mid-20s. So I think he's definitely one that's destined for a big move, and whoever gets him, if they're patient with him, absolutely have a really good centre forward.
I agree.
Here's something not many people realise. This isn't the first time Manchester United has chased Benjamin Sesko. They've been watching him since he was 16 years old, back when he was just a teenager playing in Slovenia for Domžale. Now he's 22, built like a tank, sharp like a blade, and playing for RB Leipzig. And United still interested. They believe he's got sky-high potential, not just to perform, but to grow, to evolve, to possibly even be sold for a bigger fee one day. He's an investment, a future asset. But here's the catch. He's expensive.
It's a move. I think he could be on the move, but I worry a bit with Sesko that he's going to be priced out of one. So a few years ago, there was talk that he could go for like around 55, 60 million euros, which felt kind of reasonable. Risk versus reward, young striker on the up. Okay, let's do it. Let's see what happens. But now you're hearing that release clause has been bumped up, and I think there's a lot of confusion about what that release clause actually looks like. You can't find it anywhere, by the way. If you search it, you'll get a thing of, it's not quite clear, but it's believed to be between 50 and 75. That's a big gap. And if it is sort of towards the top end of that, it's a lot of money, and I'm not sure anyone's going to pay that.
When Sesko signed a new contract with Leipzig in 2024, it came with a handshake deal. If an elite club, elite by Sesko's own definition, offers between 80 and 90 million euros, Leipzig will let him go. And some people aren't sold. They look at the 13 goals in 33 Bundesliga games this season and say, is that really worth 80 million?
There's a slip from Urban. Shoot, he says.
When you watch him play, his movement, his speed, his ability to rise above defenders like a skyscraper, you see something special. A striker built for the modern game, tall, fast, clinical, and only getting better. So, what exactly does Benjamin Sesko bring to the table? Well, a whole lot more than just goals. At first glance, he looks like your classic towering striker. 6 feet 5 inches, 195 centimetres, long strides, strong frame. But don't be fooled. Sesko's game is way more dynamic than you'd expect from a big man. He's not just there to be a target for crosses, he actually wants the ball at his feet. He's aggressive, he wants to be involved in the build-up, and he's not afraid to take risks, even if sometimes his passes are a little sloppy. One of his biggest surprises? His dribbling. For a guy that tall, he's got really tight control in short spaces. In fact, for every 90 minutes, he succeeds in 55% of his attempted dribbles with 1.2 per 90. Add that to his aerial power, and defenders basically have to deal with a guy who can beat them both on the ground and in the air. That's a nightmare matchup. But if there's one thing that stands out above all, it's his shooting. He can score with his right foot, left foot, or head. And his movement off the ball is intelligent. He knows how to find space, how to make runs between defenders, and he's often in the right place at the right time. Here's the catch: his decision-making is still a work in progress. In the Bundesliga, he averaged just 0.9 shots on target per 90 minutes, out of 2.1 total shots, and scored a goal every 185 minutes. That's not bad, but it's not exactly elite. What's going wrong? It's not about being in the wrong position, he knows where to be. The problem's execution. Sometimes his shots lack power, sometimes he doesn't adjust his body well enough to strike with accuracy, and other times he chooses the wrong option when teammates are in better spots. It's frustrating because you can see the talent, you can see the potential, but right now, Sesko is an inconsistent striker with flashes of brilliance. Again, he scored 13 goals and 5 assists in Bundesliga last season. He is a player still figuring out how to turn good positions into goals. Is that what Manchester United need right now? A young, raw forward who might shine in the future? Or do they need someone ready to deliver from day one?
Man United need experience at the top of the pitch. They've got Highland, they've got Zerkny, they've got Cheetah. Young, inexperienced players. They need someone to look at and go, that's how you play as a number 9. That's how you do it. And I think when you're going to buy somebody who's got hasn't got as much experience as I'd like, I think that's another risk. Is it worth taking with inexperienced players?
But wait, does Manchester United even have the money to buy Benjamin Sesko right now? We're talking about a club that already dropped nearly 100 million euros this summer, bringing in Brian Mbeumo and Matthias Cunha. So how the hell would they afford another expensive striker?
Joshua Zirkzee, a lot better. So, United have upgraded that position already. They haven't got a specialist in yet, but they've got players who will score more goals than the players that they had last season. So I do think they need to look around the pitch now and get priorities dealt with elsewhere, especially midfield, because you can have the best strikers in the world. If you can't win the ball and keep it in midfield, you're not going to score many goals, and that is the issue that's obvious right now that United need to address.
Random thought about this pre-season of Manchester United, and I just saw the schedule there.
Realistically, the more accessible target is Ollie Watkins. Yes, Aston Villa insist he's not for sale, at least not publicly. But behind the scenes, United believe a deal might actually be possible. They're definitely not paying the £60 million Villa asked from Arsenal back in January. That's just not happening, especially since Watkins is already 29. But maybe, just maybe, United could get a deal done around £40 to £45 million. To make it work financially, United might have to get creative. That could mean including Alejandro Garnacho in the conversation, maybe even as part of a swap deal or to knock down the transfer fee. Add in other players that Ruben Amorim doesn't count on, like Tyrell Malacia or Jadon Sancho, and the numbers might start to make sense. It's complicated, but Watkins fits the bill in a way few others do. Sure, he's not young, and there's basically no resale value. He's got maybe 3 elite years left. But that's not the point. What Watkins gives you is Premier League certainty. Well, if what United wants is certainty and experience in the Premier League, without a doubt, the best option would be Isak. But it is impossible for the Swedish player to arrive at Old Trafford.
Newcastle £300 million for Alexander Isak, and he wouldn't even consider going to Man United, because why would it? Why would he waste a couple of years of his career at Old Trafford when he can go to Anfield and maybe win everything next year? So, United do need a forward, and I think the club are trying to dampen expectations a bit with the fans and trying to kind of, urge them not to be carried away by the possibility of a number 9, but I think they'll get one in because they were prepared to, go for Ekitike was one they looked at. They've explored Ollie Watkins. They're not exploring these transfers if they haven't got the money to.
Let's talk numbers. Watkins has 75 goals in 184 Premier League appearances. He's hit double digits in goals for 5 straight seasons. In 2023/24, he dropped a ridiculous 27 goals and 15 assists. In 2024/25, he followed it up with 17 goals and 14 assists across all competitions. That's consistency. That's reliability. And for a United team that scored just 44 league goals last season, their worst output in the entire Premier League era. Watkins could be a game changer. He wouldn't solve everything, but he might just be the piece that unlocks the rest of the attack. Ollie Watkins brings something Manchester United has been missing: a proper traditional striker. He's not trying to be a creative midfielder or drifting out wide like a winger. He's a centre forward in the purest sense, holding his position in the heart of the attack, waiting to strike. That's exactly what makes him so dangerous. Just look at the numbers. Last season, Watkins averaged only 23.8 touches per 90 minutes, the lowest of his entire Villa career, and among the bottom 25% of all Premier League forwards. That tells you all you need to know. He's not involved in every passing move or build-up play. His job is simple: finish the chances, and he does that with surgical precision.
Palmer. Watkins! Bang on 90 minutes!
Only 3 strikers in the league, Haaland, Nunez, and Muniz, take fewer touches per shot than Watkins. His role is clearly defined. Since Emery took charge of Villa, a whopping 93% of Watkins' shots have come from inside the penalty box. That's the highest rate in the entire Premier League. It shows just how committed he is to staying in the right areas to score. And when it comes to finishing, he's got it all. Tap-ins, headers, 1v1 goals, first-time strikes. Watkins has built a strong portfolio of goals. He's especially effective at the near post, where 28% of his shots go. It might be a smaller target, but it often catches goalkeepers off guard and leads to easy goals. Watkins doesn't need fancy tricks. He just knows where to be and how to finish. That kind of striker would change everything for United. His movement is elite, always staying on the shoulder of the last defender, always forcing the backline to drop deeper. That opens up pockets of space behind them, and that's where players like Matheus Cunha and Brian Mbeumo could do serious damage. Watkins could make the rest of the attack better, just by being on the pitch. It gets even better. Back at Brentford and in his early Villa days, Watkins played as a wide forward. That gave him a valuable skill, knowing how to work the channels and deliver cutbacks. Today he can still do that, whether it's finishing the play himself or laying it off for a teammate near the penalty spot. If Bruno Fernandes plays deeper next season, he could thrive on those passes from Watkins. But Watkins doesn't just score, he creates too. In the 2023/24 season, he racked up 13 assists, more than double his previous personal best, and won the Premier League's Playmaker of the Season award. Only Cole Palmer had more total goal contributions, and he followed it up with 8 more assists last season, showing that his playmaking ability is now a consistent weapon. If United signs him, they're investing in results right now, not in long-term growth.
I think Ollie Watkins will be a very good addition for the younger ones in that squad to look at and go, yeah, that's a benchmark of someone who knows how to play the role. Consistently, he's done it in the top level for the last few years. Got goals, Champions League football as well.
So let's break it down. If Manchester United had to choose between Watkins, Sesko and Højlund as their main striker for next season, who would actually be the best fit? Let's look at the numbers. Ollie Watkins has played 184 matches and scored 75 goals. That's 1 goal every 203 minutes. He's also added 34 assists, meaning he's either scoring or assisting every 140 minutes. His shot conversion rate, 16.6%. That tells us he's not just a goal scorer, but a well-rounded forward who links up play and creates chances for others. That's huge. Now take Rasmus Højlund. He's featured in 94 matches, scored 23 goals, a goal every 261 minutes, and provided just 4 assists. In total, he contributes to a goal every 223 minutes, with a slightly better conversion rate of 18.6%. But the gap in production is clear. Højlund is still developing, but he hasn't yet shown the efficiency United needs right now. Then there's Benjamin Sesko. He's played 64 matches and scored 27 goals, 1 goal every 145 minutes. On top of that, he's chipped in with 7 assists and contributes to a goal every 116 minutes. His conversion rate, a stunning 23%. That's the best of the 3 by far. On paper, Sesko looks like the most dangerous option in front of goal. But there's a catch. His stats come from the Bundesliga, not the Premier League. We all know that some players shine in Germany, but struggle to adapt to England. The pace, the physicality, the pressure, it's just different. So who's the best option for United? Watkins is the safest bet. He's proven in the Premier League. He scores, assists, stretches defences and doesn't need time to adapt. He's reliable. He could boost the entire system around him, especially playing alongside guys like Bruno, Cunha and Mbeumo. But that's the thing. United already has playmakers, players who love to link up, drift wide and operate in half spaces. Amorim doesn't need another facilitator. At Sporting, he relied on Victor Gyökeres, a pure striker, not a passer. Gyökeres didn't care about assists. He was built for scoring. He lived in the box, and that's what made the system tick. And that's where Sesko becomes really interesting. His numbers are elite, his profile matches Gyökeres more than anyone else, and he's still just 22. If Amorim wants to replicate his sporting model at Old Trafford, Sesko might be the better tactical fit. A killer in the box, less associative, more direct. So here's the million-dollar question. What does Manchester United need more? Security or potential? Ollie Watkins gives you one thing above all: guarantees. He's consistent. He'll get you goals for the next 3 seasons, no doubt. But that's the trade-off. In 3 years, United will be back in the market looking for a new striker to replace him. Someone younger, someone fresher, someone who can grow with the team. On the other hand, Benjamin Sesko is a long-term investment. He's just 22. He's fast, powerful, and still learning. If things go well, he could be your starting striker for the next 6 years or more. That's exactly the type of player you build a project around. But let's be real, United's environment right now isn't exactly calm or stable. It's a tough place for young players to thrive. Just ask Højlund or Zirkzee. The pressure is brutal, and that's the risk. Watkins is a Premier League veteran. He knows the pace, the pressure, and the chaos of English football. He wouldn't need time to adapt. He'd be ready from day one. Meanwhile, Højlund and Zirkzee are both talented but inconsistent. If United sign Sesko, they'll be adding another young forward to an already unstable front line. That could backfire. So here's the bottom line. United must choose not just who to sign, but who to let go. Either Højlund or Zirkzee has to leave. On loan, on a sale, whatever it takes. Amorim can't build a winning team with a trio of unfinished strikers. That's why, considering everything, Watkins might be the smartest move. Even if Sesko has a higher ceiling, the price tag is steep and the gamble is real. Watkins gives you goals, experience, and clarity. He solves the problem now, and once United is back on its feet, with a better structure and more momentum, then they can go after the next big thing. Maybe even someone already dominating the Premier League. Sometimes the best long-term strategy is to buy short-term certainty.